Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I am your cadet master, Giraffe, alongside the best faculty this side of the Golden Gate Bridge. Thank you for joining our all faculty meeting today. We have Dr. Julian, who just came back from his yearly pilgrimage to Bejor. How you doing?
On board the Defiant. we're gonna ask for docking clearance at DS9 very shortly. It was good. Bejor is beautiful. Can't wait to go back.
Adjunct Eric will be hosting a lecture on why Jordi LaForge is actually the most important man in Starfleet.
Yeah, he is.
Hey. And Professor MC, we know, has Jake's greatest works in her curriculum all year long. Happy Black History Month! How are we doing?
We're good. I'm dehydrated from the amount of tears I've spent watching this episode multiple times. I thought it would be less every time I watched it. No, it was more and then more and more.
It starts earlier because you know when the crying scenes are.
Well, it's
pre-cry. You pre-cry.
You pre-cry. You're right. Like it's like you pre-cry and then you hear Tawny say the word Benjamin and you realize the tone and inflection she says it in that time. You're like, oh my god.
Yep.
We're all reviewing the episode already. Incredible. So we cannot wait. This week, S.A.M. is written by Kirsten Beyer and Tawny Newsom, directed by Larry Tang. When Sam sets to solve the biggest mystery in Starfleet history, she embarks on a journey of self-discovery and learns the value of forging her own path. Not full house, but almost full house, but full episode. So we'll be passing on the patrons again. I'm so sorry. Promise next week. We'll be having one drumstick for each of you tonight. And of course, a big thank you to our Badmirals, our EPs, who are keeping the oceans from overeating. Thank you. Thank you very much. Simon Steger, Chris Waterman, Tara Poland, Dana, Matt Harker, Jim McMahon, Maggie Light, Beth, Michael Graham, and Jesse. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time before we go to the news. Remember, if you didn't have time yet, it is still time to go leave a comment on Rotten Tomatoes to say that you enjoy Starfleet Academy. We've talked about this last week. It is still true. Go give them your love. If you love something, go say it.
Did you get us drumsticks for the pod? You're the host now. Did you buy us things?
Yeah, all like 45 I don't know how many patrons. I will be shipping them to you.
I want my drumstick.
Yes.
See, that's what makes it unbelievable. The idea that you'd ship anything.
Oh my god.
Go ahead. Are you
Yeah. I am.
Are you f***ing kidding me?
Here we go.
There it is.
Do we have any news, friends? I have some news. Julian, I see you have one.
I have a few. You want me to just get mine all out of the way?
Yeah, let's go.
And then I'm gonna have Eric do one too. Watch along. I've been trying, like we did for Strange New World season 3. We've only done one of them so far this season. I've been patiently waiting in the watch alongs chat after the episode, but I hope to have a good amount of you tonight after the pod to rewatch series Acclimation Mil because I want to cry with you all again. Please come join me directly following the podcast for a watch along. Also, Strange New Adventures is inching even closer to season 2. The Cries of Mars, the campaign that I wrote. If you've been following our YouTube, we have the first 2 little mini episodes of our crew rotations, getting to meet our new crew members of the USS Thunder Bay. We have Lieutenant Commander Vinar, who is one of our Herogen crew members, who is the chief engineer, as well as Lieutenant Eugene Hawk, who is our Erica Ortegas. He flies the ship, also related to that Lieutenant Hawk. So those are available. We're going to be dropping them every week. And then, Eric, you have news, and I have something to put up on the screen for it.
You know what I love?
Ice cream.
Ice cream.
I do love ice cream.
I love Deep Space Nine. You know what else I love? The Avengers. You know, I don't know if you've ever seen the film chat on our Discord, but when those Avengers Doomsday teasers were coming out, people are just popping off. They're like, holy shit, Steve Rogers. Oh, sorry. That's a spoiler for anyone. Steve Rogers is coming back. Blah, blah, blah. You know who came back this episode? Cisco. So I made a parody shirt on our store. It says Benjamin Cisco will return in Avengers Doomsday.
And you can get it right there, right now. Strangepod.bigcartel.com. Go to that hyperlink and you could purchase that brand new shirt on our store right now. Do it. Go buy one.
Hopefully the mouse doesn't get angry at us.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if we get a cease and desist. Hopefully not.
Yeah, you will deal with Disney. I don't know. No Disney. If not,
Disney's not that bad. They don't. Well, I won't get into that conversation.
Don't say things like this.
That's it.
I have news.
What?
What?
So, I am very happy to say tonight that Tony Newsom asked me to moderate and Ask Me Anything. She will be posting very soon on her social links, times, and date. But I am so excited to be the moderator. Promise me to be nice in the chat.
I will be producing and moderating, and if any y'all get out of line, you will get the ban hammer really fucking quickly. So don't be a dick.
Keep an eye on her social. She will be sharing a link very soon. I hope to see you all there to support me for sure. But I'm also sure that you have so many questions to ask Tony about. Whoa! We have a bunch of woes in the chat. Oh my god! All caps. So yeah, keep an eye on her socials and my socials too. We'll be sharing very soon. Where, when, how, and she will be, not me, answering questions. Yeah, that's my news. How is that for news for that episode? Ha!
That's good news for this episode.
It's pretty damn good. And also, can we give a shout out to Gene and Eric for designing the logo art? Which you will see. If you peek,
tomorrow,
you'll see it. You'll see. I'm being bad and saying you might be able to find it, but
yes,
I'll be quiet.
Yeah, that's it for me. Anybody else?
No.
Let's go for episode 5 review. This is the first episode of Star Trek on Black History Month, and what an episode to start Black History Month. I will say that. It is the morning, and it's not Data's day. It's Sam's day. Emissary equal diplomat equal big job. We discovered that our favorite Caskian is actually under some kind of pressure from her makers. Under the happy-go-lucky face of S.A.M lies an important purpose: discovering if the organics, us, can be trusted. Let's talk about the Caskian. We don't know much about them, but we learned that they acquired consciousness at one point or another of their history and became people after their organic makers disappeared, left them. A bit Kalon if you watch the Orville, or a bit Silent, or more like the synth. What do you think of the purpose of S.A.M's her makers, and what we're starting to learn about the Caskians, also how they treat her? We're gonna go MC, Eric, and Julian.
Well, in terms of the Caskians, I actually immediately went to the very end of the movie AI, artificial intelligence, because they're very much that like higher evolutionary, like not quite corporeal thing. And it works actually really perfectly with tying everything to Cisco with S.A.M. I mean, obviously they're using the term emissary, which if you're a Star Trek fan, that does bring to mind Cisco. But I mean, it is a legit term because they had an episode called Emissary even before Deep Space Nine came out, because KLR was also an emissary. But you have S.A.M who's come to, figure out organics for her creators who don't really understand them. And that's kind of what Cisco did. Like, he was birthed so that the wormhole aliens could understand linear time and just life outside of the wormhole, which is basically what Sam's doing. So I love how actually Sam does with this opening, seems to be like more human than human. Because like this very sweet, it's very teenager, a story about me. And I really loved how they did, cross out the CBS production to
Yes.
yeah, everything. It's so happy, and you really establish who Sam is. And this is such, like, I know everybody's going to be going on and on about Cisco, about this being an epilogue to Deep Space Nine, but this is actually, I would say, one of the best character studies Star Trek has had in years. Like, I think in all of New Trek, maybe the inner fight from Lower Decks got close, but they don't really do these episodes that kind of, we're going to just delve into the psyche of this character, because with New Trek, it's always move, move, move. So,
Eric?
I love the idea that the Casticans are like the ending aliens or ending AI at the end of AI. Like, that's fascinating because I like that movie a lot, and I think that's a really apt description. So I don't have anything to add to that because I think that's way better than anything I thought of. As for Sam, I find her so interesting because she's programmed to be a 17-year-old emissary to a whole set of people to try and figure out what humanity is like, right? She's supposed to be this bridge between these two people. And she's not like Data. She's not trying to find her humanity or figure out that part of her. She already has it, but she's trying to define herself, right? She's a 17-year-old kid. What 17-year-old knows themselves enough to explain to her, figurative parental figures, right? Like, this is what she's doing. That's like asking a teenager to be like, okay, explain these people to me. You've just dropped over there. I'm like, that's insane to me. But I do like that she seems to know herself, but she doesn't really know how to define herself in this group and with all these people. She knows herself, she knows her friends, but how do they relate? Like, I find her so amazing. Also, she really reminds me of Kamala Khan from Ms. Marvel. Like,
I can see that.
It's so much love for everything about humanity, and like the way that they shot the beginning, it felt like the Ms. Marvel TV show. I loved it. I thought it's amazing. Plus, she brings up this whole relationship between her and her, makers, her parents. It's like it brings up that Trek, that long debated Trek idea about ownership. Like, Data has gone through it. We see the Doctor go through it in Author, right? Like it's like, I love her storyline. It's so Star Trek in its very essence.
Julian?
Yeah, so I was actually like really thrown off by Sam's makers, right? Because you do see this opening that MC and Eric have talked about, and it's super Sam, the Sam that like we've gotten to see over these past 4 episodes. And the Sam that we do see over the past 4 episodes and into this episode is this bubbly, lovable teenager, right? And then she goes into that room and you put Kaylon, Cylon, since like, yeah, I would say very Kaylon, because they seem super like, I don't want to say unemotional, because they're definitely emotional on like the more angry side. Like, you're not doing your job, like what we sent you there to do. Like, you're asking about like her making and her creation, right? Like, I feel like the Cascadians don't quite comprehend even themselves what they sent her there to do, because she's doing what a Starfleet cadet would do, and they're just be like, what have you been doing? You've been wasting your time. So like, I think they're confused, and I think like Sam is confused, and it actually makes for very good TV. I loved the moment. And can we just help me, because I always mispronounce his name and I don't want to.
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
Thank you. Love the voice. I didn't want to be that person. Oh my God, so good. And I also love the visual, right? Because these are non-corporeal beings. They're photonic. And it was a really cool way to see them represented. And they did this not just through what the Cascadians looked like during the meetings, but also when Sam was taking information with her eyes. It was all like very visually stunning. I hope we see more of them over the course of the next 5 episodes, because I think they're so scared that they kind of did this with haste. They did it with haste and created a 17-year-old kid. It's like, we don't know what to do with a 17-year-old kid. It's great. It's awesome. I loved it.
It's very much a create our emissary, blank, blank, blank prophet.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to start the episode by talking about the Caskian makers, because I feel that we're gonna go into DS9 and then everybody's gonna forget about the Caskian information we get. And I was kind of thrown off because, you know, we always see Sam being so happy, but sometimes she disconnects. Like if you watch the other episode, sometimes you see her like just like, you know, looking away and like looking, and I'm like, oh, she's talking to the makers, and it added a dimension to her character that I was like, oh, she's not daydreaming, she's having these entities, yeah, but a little bit like the wormhole alien, right, who just like are talking, bringing her somewhere and like talking to her. And I think they're giving me a little bit the feel of like species, you know, in Voyager species
8472
8472 874, anyway, the numbers, where they're like, oh, we're gonna infiltrate Starfleet, or we're gonna like make something that will be able to go on, not unnoticed because they know she's here, but you know, kind of blend in without actual information about what a 17-year-old is. What are they doing there? What is the academy? And we just like bring back information. So I like the fact that they were scared, because yeah, definitely I hope we're gonna learn more about like the background of the Caskian and what happened to them and why they're in this situation, and also why do they need to make contact now. But I feel it shifted my whole understanding of Sam and what she's going through. You know, when you have like, again, like kids and you're like, oh, they're happy-go-lucky, and then you learn they have like this insane pressure from parents. I'm like, oh, she literally has helicopter parents. Like,
yes, yes, exactly.
Or like, go enroll in this class. Don't go and like flirt with cadets. Don't look at them eating like weird things.
Don't do 12 shots of vodka.
give me back my my report card. What is your report card? And but Sam has these, you know, problem that if Sam fails, she dies. They bring her up. They like, I don't know what they do, but, and I thought it was super interesting to see how also a Caskian function with, you know, her like her eye you were talking about. I feel we suddenly had an expansion on like Star Trek species that was super interesting to me. But what makes organic tick? Instead of discovering what makes cadets go round and round and round, love, priority one missions, weird food, shenanigans, and Ionian Gidliter also. Sam is sent by her maker to enroll in a class called Confronting the Unexplainable. The teacher, Professor Isla Cardassian, played by Tawny Newsome. What do you think about this window in college college life? I mean, I recognize myself doing a lot of shenanigans in parallel of Sam heavy mission and identity quest. We've seen many classes at the Academy also. We've seen xenomythology, we've seen xenobiologies. What do you think of confronting the unexplainable as a course that is offered at the academy. We'll talk about Professor Isla later down the line, I promise. But just one more part. Did you recognize Tony Newsom right away? I didn't.
Absolutely not. Well, in terms of this, we have all of these shenanigans happening. And I really appreciate that they are taking the time to show the everyday life of these cadets, because we're always given the impression it's like, oh, Starfleet Academy is so darn serious. But I can tell you, I wrote a Starfleet Academy quiz this weekend for Trek Masters, and there were like 3 questions that I had in there about people getting into bar fights. So like these people like get up to hijinks, and it's nice to see them as not like the elite cadets who are just always focused on school, because we know they're kids, they fuck up, they do regular kid stuff. And I'm really appreciating them leaning into that a little bit, and having this class confronting the unexplainable. I would 1000% have taken that class in school.
Yes.
Absolutely. No question about it. It sounds so cool. And I mean, like the things that we can assume that they're covering in that class, they're covering like the Guardian of Forever in it. Like, oh, like so exciting. I would actually love to like try to come up with the actual curriculum. Because there's so many fun like little mysteries in Star Trek that have not actually been figured out that could be in this. And I mean, we will obviously talk about Isla so much, but having her as a Cardassian is such an interesting choice. Like, I mean, obviously they needed to do some prosthetic work on Tawny, because we've seen Beckett Mariner, so you know we got to cover her up a little bit. But choosing a Cardassian, it's kind of the same reason why having the Federation president being half Cardassian, half Bajoran, or part. I don't know how. I think she also had some human in there, but having that, things had gotten so much better between the Cardassians and everyone else that these two enemies for so many years were able to have a child that was not only not considered a bad, you know, because we had seen that previously with Ducat's daughter, whose name completely escapes me at the moment, but it was
IL, right? IL or
no, I can't remember now, but but it was controversial. It was controversial.
Tora Ziyal. That's where I got
Tora
that. Tora Ziyal.
Yeah.
Everybody in the chat is like,
Yeah,
Tora,
everybody
Zeal,
the
Tora,
chat is
Zeal,
jumping on it. It's like MC. I thought you were the trivia girl. Yeah,
another tragic mulatto, by the way. Just throwing that in the middle.
Yeah, but that seems to be a thing of the past, and it does seem like Cardassians, whenever a Cardassian shows up, they tend to be mixed with something else. And just, you know, jumping ahead to what we know at the end, one of the most famous things that has happened to a Dax is being horrifically killed by a Cardassian. So it makes for an interesting idea with this.
Eric?
I did recognize Tawny's voice
Oh,
when I heard it. When I first heard it, I went, and then I saw her eyes, and I was like, "That's Tawny." That sounds weird, but she has very distinct eyes. I don't know. I love Tawny.
Okay, Eric. Tell us more about Tawny's eyes.
I will. Shut up. The window into the classic student college life was wonderful. I loved it. I've wanted to see this ever since I saw Picard punching people in a bar. Like, we know that they get into shit. That's awesome. And to see the full experience. And what better way to for a 17-year-old to figure out what humanity is like than to go through the full student experience, right? She went through that in like what, a couple of days. Like, she did everything. Like, that was wonderful. I like, it was just funny, man, the glitter. As for the class, oh man, I would love to take that class, especially if MC was teaching it. Like,
Oh yeah,
I just wanted to
the
take
chat
it.
wants you to teach it. Yeah, the chat is saying you should teach it. Yes.
Okay.
yeah, like it sounds fascinating, and with everything that, like, all the stuff like Gary 7 and everything, I would love to try and figure out all of this stuff. Oh yes, just give it to me all.
Julian.
I did not notice right away. It was actually Karen. Karen looked at me and she goes, "Is that Tawny?" And I go, "That is Tawny." Oh my God. That was amazing. Yes. I loved the beginning of this episode when Sam is like doing all the things that kids do at school, like the handshakes, the nicknames. It was great. I was so here for it because it's real shit. Oh God, I loved it. I loved like the legit conversation with the music teacher, like, "Sam, why did you choose the theremin?" It's like, these, my kid is playing violin right now. It's like, why are you playing violin? Why are you not practicing at home? All of these things. It's listen, I think we talked about this in Wants and Don't Wants. One of the things I think we all decided we wanted was a look into school life. The show is called Starfleet Academy, Show Us Class. And we're getting it. And I do love seeing it also from Sam's point of view and how she's digesting and intaking like all of these different cultures, which she's never experienced before, and all of these different things that the Academy has to offer. It's great. And it's so funny watching. I know we're going to talk about her more later, but it's so funny watching the episode again and again and seeing all of the different mannerisms that should have made me absolutely not only spot Tawny, but be like, "Oh, hey, that's Dax." Yeah. And to kind of to go along with what MC was saying, to have a Cardassian trill is, it's poetry. It's absolute poetry. It's such an interesting thing to do after, especially what happened to Jadzia. I have so much I want to say about her, but obviously we'll wait.
We'll talk about her later. I promise. Yeah, I recognize the voice right away. Let's be honest. Like everybody, I was like, wait. And my brother's like, "Oh, I know, Mariner." But I just like the fact. Okay, I one thing I dislike in Star Trek, dislike is a big word, but like I kind of roll my eyes at it, is when we see, the Academy students being so like dutiful and so like, "I'm gonna serve and this is my family."
Right.
Like when we see them in Picard season 3, in the bar, I'm like, this is not what fucking college students do. I know you're most really proud to be in Starfleet Academy. I don't say the opposite. I was proud to be in college. I was happy to be there. But also, I was a 20-year-old. I was getting into shenanigans. Yeah. We had like a college bar for sure. Like you would drink too much on the first day. Why not?
I had
I
had a prof in first year say, if all you do is study in your first year, you're not really in university. Like, you have to experience it all. Like, and I think that's sort of what
I did the exact opposite, and that's why I only did 1 year of college. I just didn't go to class, and well, here we are. But
I think like I mostly partied a lot when I was in college in Athens because I was writing my master's, so I didn't have so many classes, so I could just have my own time to do whatever I need to do as I wanted, which was not wise. But I like the fact that, and I think I've said it before when we reviewed, that they're just well-rounded person. Like they look and act like real people. College students, Well, like, especially imagine if you're in a college where there's so many different species and, people coming from all over the galaxy. That'd be so fun. And I think Sam, like, lists the number of species that just Starfleet has met in, like, the last decades, or, like, I don't remember. But I'd be so fascinated by all of it. Yeah, I would want to see Kion in glitter for sure. Like, I mean, why not? And also, it speaks to their camaraderie, how fast they just have like nicknames and these little like priority one mission, and it's so benevolent. It's so happy, and I'm like, yeah, I would have loved to be in that college. And confronting the unexplainable, I really liked the title of the class, because I feel there is some kind of humility in it. Like, there are things that we can't explain, and accepting it is important. There is science for a lot of things, but the more you get in contact with, I don't know, everything around you, the more there's gonna be, I can't explain that. And some people don't want me to explain that. And I feel that the rest of the episode really talks also about like beliefs versus like evidence-based science. And I think at one point you also have this like cultural competency coming from being, I'm not going to explain that. I'm not going to explain the wormhole aliens or the prophets, because it's not my place as Starfleet or whatever, because it's the belief and the religion of a whole planet. And I really like that the cadets can get a class called Confronting the Unexplainable, when you're in science-based society, a science-based school, and that then you have to deal with people who are like, these are gods. And you're like, are they? Like, it's such an important skill. And I want to talk about this later, but I think it is time to figure out what happened to Benjamin Cisco.
Before
we actually discuss what this means in the episode for Sam, what was your reaction when Sam said that? The tune of DS9. Like, did you think that episode was gonna go there?
When she first goes into the classroom, I could, peep the Benjamin Cisco image in the background, and I'm like, ooh, what a fun little Easter egg to just have like this what happened to Ben Cisco thing in the background. But then that turns out to be the plot of the episode. I freaking loved it. Deep Space Nine is one of my favorite Star Treks. It is, I think, my favorite of the 90s. Oh, no, I don't think. I know for sure it is my favorite of the 90s Treks. And getting this follow-up on it is so fun for me, because I do feel like Deep Space Nine has gotten kind of the short shrift in terms of follow-ups with New Trek. I do think Lower Decks did give us, some nice little bits where they actually visit Deep Space Nine, and we see Rom and Lita on Ferenginar. But like, we've gotten so much stuff from Voyager, because we had Janeway and the Doctor and Chakotay and everybody come back on Prodigy, and then we have the Doctor in this show. And the less said about follow-ups to The Next Generation, the better, because damn, have they got that covered. But Deep Space Nine, it's always been just these small little bits, and this felt so genuinely unabashed loving for it. But at the same time, I was thinking about all of the other, quote unquote crossover episodes that we've had, where a new Star Trek show has gone to revisit an older one. And I really think that this is the best one of those. And, considering how much I love the episode Those Old Scientists, that's saying a fucking lot. But when you look at the episodes like Those Old Scientists, Relics, Unifications 1 and 2, even going into things like the Trials and Tribulations and Flashback, I think is the one that they did for Voyager. The older property kind of takes the oxygen out of the room. Nothing really happens with the main characters of the show that we're actually on. It's very much, we're paying homage to the things that came before, and they're wonderful. I love them. They're so good. Those Old Scientists, one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek ever. Relics is the first time I ever liked Scotty, so like that's a big thing.
I mean, fact. I don't know this one. It is fact.
But it's always so reverent to the past that it doesn't do anything with the show it actually is a part of. That is not the case here, because everything about Cisco is tied to S.A.M, to her character journey. And that makes it such a deeper and richer episode. I have seen people call this, a love letter to Deep Space Nine. And yes, it is very affectionate for it. But when I think of a love letter episode, it's always, something that doesn't have a lot of substance, that is just this reverence to the past. Well, that's not this. This is taking Deep Space Nine and using it to further the actual story of characters that we're dealing with now.
Yeah. Eric?
I think with a love letter as well, you would probably expand on just other than just Cisco, right? Like they would probably touch upon other things. Like I love that the heart of DS9 was always Cisco being a father figure, and at least that was when I saw the shows. DS9 is my favorite Star Trek season or series, even though I joke about Enterprise a lot. I do love Deep Space Nine the most. So when she said she was gonna look into Cisco, I squeed, like literal squee. I went, ah! And because it's not something I ever expected. Knowing that Avery Brooks has retired from an acting, he doesn't really talk about Star Trek. I didn't expect to ever see Cisco again. Like watching the documentary about Deep Space Nine that came out a number of years ago, and them doing that hypothetical next season. Like, I thought that was cool. We didn't need it. I didn't want to see Nog die. Like, I thought it was nice. I like the ending of DS9. I think it's a good like stop or end of that story. Like, it's sad and both beautiful at the same time. They look at the relationships. I did not expect it. And it means the world to me. I love this show so much. And I think that this is a good epilogue for that. I think this is a good way to continue the legacy of Cisco and his son, and like their relationship and everything.
Don't go to the end of the episode right now, please, Eric.
Yeah, but not. But it's a good. It's a good continuation. Like MC said, this continues the story. It's not just like, oh, we love this. Look at these all these things we're gonna mention. Like, it's a good way to be reverent of the past without just being like, ooh, look at all these Easter eggs. Isn't that cool? Look at these two guys were in the cantina on in Star Wars. Remember him? Now they're walking into the background here. Isn't that neat? Like this actually means something.
Rogue One's still the best Star Wars movie.
It is, but that is the worst part of that movie, because I sat there, I was like, why?
Yeah, I love Rogue One, but Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba appearing made absolutely no fucking sense.
Zero sense.
Everybody is so dissipated today.
That being said, I love that Tawny gets to do a Deep Space Nine episode, because Mariner also was on Deep Space Nine. Remember when she did that on Lower Decks? Like, I love that. I love that there's a little bit of that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if I keep gushing, I'm just gonna keep gushing. Go, Julian.
Go, Julian.
I'm gonna try really hard not to cry on this pod tonight, but I did bring a box of tissues in case.
Oh, good. We're all gonna cry anyway.
Because Deep Space, like I love Deep Space Nine so much, and already getting emotional. It's hard to like. It's hard on like a show. It actually was easier for me to write down words about like how I felt today and like seeing everybody experience it. But like, you know, a few weeks ago, and yes, we are gracious and lucky enough to get screeners, getting to watch this episode with my wife who knows how much Deep Space Nine means to me. You know, I think we kind of had an idea from the preview that this was going to be a subject in some shape, way, or form. But then to have the music play and have Sam say, we're gonna go on this journey together. And it's not just a journey about what happens to Benjamin Cisco, because spoilers, we don't find out what happens to Benjamin Cisco. I mean, we kind of do. He doesn't come back, and that's okay. But what I love about this, and what I love about this is that no one, and as far as I know, and I could be making shit up here, that no one even attempted to get Avery to come back, because I think bringing Avery back would be a disservice to the show, and I think it would be a disservice to the fans to get someone back just for the sake of like of the fan service of it, because he did make the decision to retire. And I think what they did with this episode was so much more beautiful, because it allowed Sam and Carice Brooks to fully be the star, while giving people who like me and like Eric, and I know you, Giraffe, as well, like who, you know, have Deep Space Nine as this super, like I wrote it earlier. It's my security blanket. It was my security blanket growing up. Just enough of it to also be like, thank you, right? Because I don't necessarily agree if it needed an epilogue, or if it did need an episode, and that's coming from someone who doesn't like the finale very much. I don't like what they did with Benjamin at the end of Deep Space Nine. It's not anywhere near my favorite Deep Space Nine finale, despite being my favorite series. But I was at peace, and like I'm okay. Like I was okay, and I thought that the Lower Decks episode of Deep Space Nine was very good. And I'm just, even though I didn't necessarily need it or want it, it does mean a lot to me, and I'm very happy that we got it. And I felt like I was in 1993 again, that little boy watching Deep Space Nine when she said, let's go find out what happened to Benjamin Cisco. I hope anything I just said makes sense, because I'm a fucking wreck right now.
It does.
Yeah, you good. Okay. The first time I watched Deep Space Nine in like the early 2000s, I want to say late 2000, I don't remember. It's not that I didn't like it, is that I was thrown off about how religious it was, especially for somebody like me who grew up in France. It is a heavily secular country. I had barely any contact with religion except like school, maybe. So I was like, ugh, I don't want the space pope. I don't want the gods. I don't want him to be Jesus. Like, I was like, I want my space adventure. You know, I was just thrown off by all that religiousness. I didn't like that the Bajoran was so religious. I could not identify to it. But like, I have to say that moving to the US and being in a constantly religious culture, because even if people are not necessarily religious themselves, religion is pushed on you in the US at a level that is insane to a French person. Like, my two shocks when I went to the US is how much people speak about God and how much people speak about the army, which was something I had literally never experienced in my life.
Sometimes at the same time.
Huh?
Sometimes at the same time.
And I think it's the first time I talk about this actually on the podcast. And I didn't rewatch Deep Space Nine in an American context, and I was like, wow, that show was important for Americans to watch in the 90s. This show is important for the Americans to watch now. Like the whole thing about like religion in school. There's no religion in school in France. I never had to think of this, you know? And I feel that it grew on me as somebody that is Americanized and also somebody who has now another look on Star Trek. I feel it's the smartest Trek out there. This is the Trek that asks difficult questions, that explores difficult topics, that is not saying we have the solutions for everything. No, there is discrimination. There is I don't know. There is hatred. There is fascism in that show, and I when Starfleet Academy went there and compared to a lot of people because we had screeners, I had no clue that this was going to happen. I am kind of disappointed of how much the press, not the press because it was not the press, but the franchise themselves said they were gonna have like a DS9 episode, because I was like, that was whoa, for sure Starfleet Academy has a DS9 episode.
They spoiled the crap out of this episode for the past 2 weeks, like themselves, and it was a little bit disappointing.
I was like, you know, I was like, yeah, it makes sense with everything that we've seen with episode 104 that tackles those difficult, you know, topics and explores relationship and explores, you know, how you learn about things around you, how you identify yourself, how you grow in your own culture. And I was like, yeah, makes sense that they have a Deep Space Nine episode. But when she went, it is time to figure out what happened to Benjamin Cisco, I was like, yes, that is going to be a different take on what we've seen, for example, Strange New World do with past Trek, which is, it is not just here to be remember berries, you know, like, aha, remember that character, like you were saying. It's like, no, let's talk about how the past of what happened in Starfleet actually still has repercussion 800, 900 years later, and how this evolved in this culture. So I went in being, oh, this is going to be very interesting. And no shade to Lower Decks. No shade at all. But, like, I feel that DS9 was brought and was interesting in Mariner's background, but then I was not certain it was bringing something to the world of Lower Decks, except being, oh, it's taking place just a little bit after the Space Nine. When here it takes, like, a totally different reading on how stories and important people are seen in the future. For me, like, again, like, it's the historian thing that really fascinated me. We go to the credits. I think everybody was shocked and ready to go. Sam decides to brainstorm with the cadets, and I thought,
Draft, can I interrupt you real quick? Sorry, can I just touch on, because like you mentioned something that I really wanted to chat about real quick. Can I talk about the religion part real quick?
Mm-hmm.
I think like that's like another big thing for me growing up, why DS9 resonated with me so much, because I was growing up with my grandmother in Queens, and DS9 Kid had come on after my mom passed, and I was having a really hard time even at that age, like coping with faith and religion. And like she was trying to raise me, like, you know, like going to like Hebrew school, and with religion, like I wasn't having it. And like DS9 was a show that like showed me other people like struggling with religion. Like that was like a very big deal for me, like growing up at an early age. And I feel like some kids like wouldn't even notice that stuff, but I remember that being like such like a big thing for me as like someone who else was struggling. And like, you know, Kira being such like a spiritual person, that was like, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is brainstorming time for the cadets. Sam is going to ask her people what they think about the Cisco. And I think they did a great recap of the Cisco storyline for the newbies. That's something I really appreciated. And now I also want that book that they have as a like Bajoran kids, I don't play. The cadets discuss the Schrodinger's prophet, right? MIA, dead, alive with the prophet. Do emissaries really always end up dead? Each of our cadets adopt another approach, seeing the mystery of Cisco as religion, as fact, as history, as myth. Caleb being our ever-caring atheist. Sam will move on to the Bajor Club that adds a layer of confusion for our Caskian. We learn that the Bajorans don't even show images of Cisco anymore. What did you think of this take on the myth of the Cisco? What it means, like seeing that story of the Space Nine and what it means to a bunch of college students 800 years later. What do you think about also the portrayal of the Bajoran culture that we see in Starfleet Academy? MC?
So this is my conspiracy theory that I should have a board for.
Let's go.
Where I will call this Dax is a mastermind. And that is because simply Dax knows exactly what happened to Benjamin Cisco. And that is because Cassidy knows what happened to Cisco, and I believe Jake knew. There were people who knew. I don't think they talked about it. And I think that a lot of that is coming from the way the Bajoran religion has especially adopted this very, like, not portraying images of him. So like the Islamic kind of, it's and I think like with you having the Bajor in the Federation, you know that the Federation is going to want to respect their beliefs. So they're not going to. You can see that in the Cisco Museum. They don't have images of Cisco in there. And I mean, I don't know if that is because they couldn't use Avery Brooks's image, but I'm going to doubt it because I think they probably could have done that if they had wanted to. I think it was a very specific story move. And I think if you have basically Cisco's best friend, who I am absolutely positively certain knows what happened to him, but is unable to talk about him, basically for political reasons, because it's this whole thing about faith. The Bajorans don't want to know if for sure that Cisco is with the prophets, because they already know, because their faith tells them that it's true. And so actually having, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Cisco showed up to his wife. They don't want to hear that. They want to have the belief of it. And so I think that it has become like this whole political versus faith thing where the Federation is almost like afraid to talk about Cisco in a historical context, because you can't really talk about, a messianic figure as historical, as a man anymore. So basically, Dax has found a way to do it by turning it into like a theological discussion. And it's such a great thing because we see Sam going through this episode, and in this part with the Bajorans, yeah, there's a little bit of Sam takes things so literally that it's not going to be a big theological discussion. It's going to be a factual thing. As Sam goes into the, finding out about, the Cisco restaurant and, making all of this Creole food, which is amazing. So basically, Dax has managed to keep their best friend alive through this class in a way that I don't think that Starfleet would let them do if they were teaching history. And believe me, like, if Dax wanted to teach history, they fucking could.
Eric?
What did I think of the introduction of the myth of Cisco and what it meant to a bunch of... I loved how real this felt. Those kids talking about religion. Like, if you ever sat around with your friends in university just debating stupid shit, this is what it would sound like. Yeah, everyone
Yes.
has a different point of view, and none of them are wrong because everyone's sort of taking it from their own perspective. Like one was, Genesis was like, well, I'm a military person. He's MIA.
MIA.
Like that was great to see that each of them had their own little point of view.
The thing else that he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. He's in Stovacor or wherever. Caleb's atheism felt actually really it didn't feel dismissive. I liked his approach. It felt really grounded. And it's not sort of weird for him to be like, he wasn't being cruel to them. He's like, this is what I know. It was a great way to show another perspective. As for Bajoran culture not even showing Cisco anymore, other than probably image rights, I thought it was really interesting because as we know through religion, through the history, through our own history, images change like as people evolve or as time goes on. Like we can look at
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I was gonna say we can look at like Santa, right? Like Saint Nicholas, like he was very not the Coca-Cola version that we see now. Like the images changed over the years. Like I like the idea that he's become so reverent that they don't even look at him, but they talk about him. I don't know. I thought that was neat. It's sort of like when Trek nerds talk about Avery Brooks anyway, right? You're like we talk about him, but we know he's there, but we don't really talk about him. It's
been so long.
Yeah.
Julian?
It's so funny because, like, Star Trek fan Julian, like, seeing Caleb talk about Cisco, that was like, fuck you, Caleb. Like, that's not cool. But, like, Julian is, like, probably, had he been in Starfleet Academy talking about someone like Cisco 1,000 years ago, would have been the same answer because that would have been atheist Julian back then, being like, yeah, like, this is like what happens. Like, this is totally fucking normal. I really liked his answer a lot. The Bajorans I think it's interesting. I think it's very on brand for the Bajorans to not show imagery. In just 7 years of Deep Space Nine, look how quickly the Bajorans came to revere him. And then look what happened when a second emissary came who claimed to be the real emissary, and like the rifts that caused, not just with him, but with the Bajoran people. Like, it's very on brand for them to elevate him up to this almost godlike level, up there with the prophets. Like, he basically did become a prophet. So I really thought that was right on cue for, despite not liking this ending of him doing that, I think we've been talking about this being an epilogue for the series almost, is the perfect evolution of like the reverence that this character is shown. So I loved it. I thought it was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what everybody said. I think that the thing that interested me the most is that I'm gonna say it's the first time, but maybe I'm wrong. But it's the first time that Trek studies Trek at a time difference, like 8, maybe Unification 3, but they don't really go there,
And the chase a little bit, not the chase. Season 5 of Disco, right?
Yeah, but
a little bit.
They don't go full like.
I just wanted to get Giraffe's reaction.
Jesus, space Jesus. But I think that it was so interesting to see, because we see Deep Space Nine and it happened. I was there. I saw it happen. And it's just like, oh yeah, Cisco did this, he played baseball. We have like this like kind of intimate present time kind of vision of like what happened in universe, but there's rarely this discussion of like what the people keep from that, because that Deep Space Nine is a batshit crazy thing that happened. Like, for sure, people in 800 years are going to remember that, right? If there's one thing, it's going to be like, remember, like, that Starfleet captain that became a prophet, ?
It's not it's like, Giraffe, that's such a great point, because it's not just, the Starfleet captain that became a god, that became a prophet, right? It's also the Starfleet captain who became a god, became a prophet, and also won the entire Dominion War and was like the face of one of the most important things in Starfleet history ever. So
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah, but there's like, it is interesting that they don't speak so much about his Starfleet career.
right.
The only thing that stays is like, hey, he's with that wormhole alien in the celestial temple, you know? And I'm like, when I was seeing this thing with the Bajoran showing his image, and I was like, what would Cisco think about this? And I think this is such an interesting reflection of like what you put out of the world and what the world remembers from you. Because like studying history is so fascinating, and like see how people were thinking of Socrates, for example, like in real life, real time at that time, and then see what you take any rando, be like, what do you know about like Greek philosophy? And you'd be like, wow. And that's 2,000 years, you know? And like 800 years is a lot. Like it's like as almost, and not as much, but like, you know, it's Middle Ages. Like the vision we have from the Middle Ages is way whack compared to what we actually know from it. So I was really interesting to have that historian point of view, and also, you know, a bunch of college students. Oh, they learned that at school. Oh yeah, Cisco for sure. What's the date again? 24 something, 23 something, you know? Most probably they had a test about it.
Do you think the length of time is the reason why the family tree was so wrong?
Whack. Yeah. You love a good Louisiana family. Come on.
Well, I love looking at like freeze frames for these kind of things. That's why like every week I'm like studying like the background image of the memorial wall so closely. So when the family tree came up, I stopped on it, and they didn't have Cassidy's kid on there, and also they had the wrong mom listed as his prophet mom, because he did have two moms listed, because he did have two moms, but we know that Sarah Cisco is the prophet mom. That's not the one that was listed.
Oh, you want to call the museum?
Yes.
I can ask Tony about it.
I'd like to file a complaint,
Yes.
please.
Sam kind of whacks her.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
Sorry, that was appropriate.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
Sam's meeting with the Bejor Club doesn't go really well. I mean, can we really blame her? Let's be honest.
And can we not just grab people's ears right away? Like, explain what you're doing.
That's just a, you know, a Ferengi move. When it comes to beliefs versus evidence-based science, it caused her to be kicked out and sent to the chancellor's office. She's literally sent to the principal of. Thank you, B. Flomaine.
That's Simon. Thank you, Simon.
A super chat.
Yeah.
Are you saying museums get it wrong? Sometimes we
Wonderful.
discussed it before, Simon. You know, always question the teachers. Always question them.
Thank you so much for the super chat. Damn.
Where was I? Simon, you threw me off. Oh yeah, she said to the principal office, asking questions and misreading the situation is okay. I like that. I like that a lot. She's sent to visit the Museum of Cisco, a virtual exhibition that she can see in the academy, to learn more about the life and disappearance of Cisco. It is yet again a very deep question and complicated question that Starfleet Academy asks here, and they bring the audience along the way. A very Deep Space Nine question, I would say, that other iterations of the franchise maybe have shy from. Is there a place for religion in Star Trek? Can science cohabit with beliefs? What do you think of how Sam is questioning Cisco's legacy through peer discussions with the cadet, research, personal soul searching? When your path is predetermined, do you have to do what you're told no matter what? What do you think of that whole, you know, exhibition of Cisco, the Museum of Cisco, MZ?
Oh, the Museum of Cisco was so great. And this was, you know, a freeze frame, wanting to look at everything, like that baseball card. I was like, what's that baseball card? I know it's not the Willie Mae card. Like what's going on there? So, but I did notice that the ball was the autographed ball from the baseball episode. It was autographed by everyone. So I loved that. I loved seeing how everything was preserved from Cisco's life and Sam's interest in getting to know who Cisco was as a person. And well, we'll get into it in the next point. But yeah, just seeing all of these little bits, I do think that having the typewriter there is extremely interesting.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I want to talk about that. I didn't want to hint, but
yeah. But in terms of religion in Star Trek, that is a question that we've been asking since Deep Space Nine. And personally, yeah, I think that there is a place for it. I think not having any religion in Star Trek is disingenuous. I think shying away from Earth religions, I can understand that because obviously Gene Roddenberry had his issues with the organized religions of the Western world. And I respect that. And we've only kind of hinted at that in Star Trek. But there is absolutely no way that religion does not exist at all anywhere in the universe. There's just too many things that people need to find an explanation for, that they're going to try to build a structure around this unknown. Now, in terms of the way Sam is taking it, it's so interesting to me because the way she is talking to Cisco is very prayer-like, but then at the same time, it is, you related it to Data's Day. It is like she's writing a letter to him. More than anything else. So she's treating him like a real person, not, well, I mean, I guess some people treat God like a real person, but she, sorry, but she recognizes who Cisco was as a person. She never forgets that because people revere him because he was an emissary, and that's what she is trying to become. So basically, she wants Cisco to be her mentor, even though he's not around anymore. So it is this very interesting, like, mix of religion and just looking for guidance, which she's tried to find guidance in the Doctor, but he has kind of rebuffed those. And I think that's something that we touch on a little bit in this episode, but we need to get more into. And that I think the Doctor has really cut himself off from everybody over the years of losing people. So now he's just kind of at this point of, why bother? So Sam has to reach out to literally talking to a holographic version of an orb that goes dark. And yeah, that's it.
Eric?
I mean, MC nailed that. Like amazingly. Like, of course, I do believe that there's a place for religion and spirituality in Star Trek. Like, there's nothing that we can say that says that they can't coexist without one, invalidating the other, right? There's always going to be people that believe something. Maybe not always, but I think that. What do I think of Sam talking to her, like going through her soul searching? It felt so human for someone who's so new. Like it's such an honest, and I don't want to say like it feels like someone young who's just like trying to find their place. Like they just, I remember being a teenager and being like, what do I do? Like, and talking to myself, or talking to talking to like my grandparents who weren't there at the time, like, give me some guidance. Like, I don't know what to do right now. Where do we go from here? The people have been talking to their ancestors for all of humanity, right? Like how it felt like such a human thing for her to do for someone who was just created 4 months earlier. Like she's becoming such a more complete person as we go through this episode and as we go through the season as well. Oh man, when your path is predetermined, do you have to do what you're told no matter what? Oh, that is a deep question, Giraffe.
It's the episode. It's actually just a quote from the episode.
I mean, it is like do we believe in destiny versus between that or free choice? Like
I don't want to keep a little bit like why I wrote that quote down, because previous episode was about cultural determinism. Yeah. And what it meant to be Klingon and what it meant on how you were gonna act and see the world. And I think that this episode kind of like gives another vision of, well, we're gonna talk about it because like that's what Jake tells her later, right?
You gotta be true to yourself, right?
Yeah, and can you still do that without like that soul searching? How can you still do that without mentors? Can you still do that without kind of a belief system? Also,
I think Cisco also went through that through all of DS9, which I think is a great parallel to Sam's story. So, we'll talk about it when we get to Jake.
Julian?
I think if you had asked me, maybe even, no, I'd say if you'd asked me 10 years ago, does religion have a place alongside science and in Star Trek? I would have probably given you a firm no, to be completely honest. I would have been like, no. But that's also because of my own, my own struggles as someone who was at the time an on again, off again, very much off again, Jew, swearing off all religion and God. If you ask me today, I say absolutely it has a place. And that's still someone who doesn't necessarily believe in God, but does have a very strong connection to my faith now, even though I don't believe, but to our traditions. So I do think like it does have its place. And I loved seeing it, as I mentioned earlier, in Deep Space Nine, and I loved seeing it get talked about in this episode. I think Sam questioning it through peer discussions was great, but like I really just the big part I want to talk about with this part of the question draft is the whole bit about legacy and your kind of your whole story being written out for you, because I so believe that even though he was the emissary of the prophets, Benjamin Cisco's story was not written. It wasn't. Benjamin Cisco could have died at Wolf 359. The prophets weren't going to intervene. I don't think that was them intervening in him surviving. He could have died there, right? He did marry Cassidy, like is talked about in this episode. He made a lot of decisions to not walk that path during the series. So no, I don't think that his path was actually ever fully determined, as much as maybe the Bajorans believed it was, or other people around him believed that it was. And I don't think that Sam, even like we see Sam in this episode walk to the beat of their own drum and do their own thing. And I don't think that they're going to let she's not going to let the Kaskians and her people say this is the path that you have to follow. She's like, I will contact you when it is time for me to contact you. Okay.
You come and do this.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. So no, yes, religion absolutely does have a place among Star Trek and with science. And no, your fate is absolutely not predetermined.
I don't agree with everybody because I think the Bajoran in that episode, the way they are unwilling to even discuss with Sam about their faith, because she touched an ear, because she was like, wait, I have questions, tells me that religion this way is not something that is matching the Trek value, like the values that Star Trek is trying to tell us. I think a belief system is something different. I think that a soul searching is something different. You see so many people. I mean, I see so many people who say they're religious, but they have no belief system. They have no soul searching. They don't even think about those values. They just be part of a group. I am a Bajoran, so I believe this, right? And you don't touch my ear, and I'm not gonna explain. I don't have the concept that you come from another place and you don't know this and you don't understand this, and that you have questions, and that you may see my faith in another light coming from how you grew up or how you were where you grew up. And I think that episode is really, for me, was really talking about having more than religion, spirituality. And that's a word I would prefer from, like, I feel Star Trek has spirituality, has questioning beliefs, as there's something bigger than me. There are things that are unexplainable and something that should not be explained. And I like that a lot, because that's how I feel about a lot of things. But then if somebody tells me there is a God and you cannot question it, I'm like, is that really something I think is right in in this conversation? Like, I was really, and same for the makers. There's like this is what we want and this is how it is, and you cannot ask question. You cannot question my objective. You cannot question how I see the world. And Nahla is the one saying, no, question. Ask questions all the time. How people
I love
will
Nahla
react
in that
to
moment. Loved it.
how people will react to the question is on them. It's not on you. So I know she comes in rather aggressively. I'm looking at the chat. But there is, I think, especially when you're touching to bigger subject. When I say bigger subject, bigger than humanity, like outside of like our everyday purview of how life goes on. I think that there is kindness, and there is I don't know, openness to have, especially from somebody that is not your culture. How often it is asked from me to do that? How often it is asked from me to be, well, they have valid question, you should listen to them. And as a woman, as a Black person, I have to do it. I don't have a choice. So I think that it was also the first time where I saw people being shocked and backed off in Starfleet Academy. People are always like, oh no, tell us, oh, the Klingons, oh, so on. So I was like, oh, maybe I always read through my own prism, for sure. But I think it was an interesting duality between Nahla being, oh, you need to ask question, it is okay to ask question, and the cadets being like, I have this idea, I think this, I think that, I think that, I think this, and then the Bajor Club being, you can't do that. So I don't know. That's why I want to talk about this.
I actually think that's a thing that comes with maturity, and why you have Nahla saying it. Well, all of the kids are like, here is my position on the matter. And she's like, ask questions about things, because when you're young, you're absolutely certain about things. But she's been around long enough where it's like, no, question things.
Yeah. So in the museum, Sam listens to a lecture of Jack Cisco that dates from 2408. My man is looking so good.
Yeah.
He says, I knew a man who would always champion me. She says, I wish I could have known you. Leaving the museum with more questions about herself than answers about Cisco, she runs into Professor Ayla, that will ask, what happens when non-facts become identity? Choice determines what we are. Love determines what we choose. As in episode 4, it is Sam looking for mentors, looking for a way to explain who she is and how she interacts with others. helping her understand her place in the world. Cisco as an emissary, like her. Jake as the son of powerful beings, like her. And maybe Isla as an outlier or somebody who questions the world. What do we think of Sarah Clofton coming back to Star Trek? Looking so good. Looking so good. And also Tony Newsom portrayal of like those mentors for Sam. What do we think of the way this episode brings the question of identity through choices?
Oh my God, the appearance of Sarah Lofton. That's when I started to bawl because I have such a soft spot in my heart for Jake. He is the Star Trek character I would probably be if I were in the Star Trek universe. I mean, honestly, I would not be in the Starfleet and I would be a writer. So I identify so heavily with him. And I never thought they were going to have him back. It seemed like with not bringing Avery Brooks back because he's retired from acting, I did not think that they were going to really get into. They were going to treat it all as very historical question and keep it very, ephemeral. And then seeing him, it made everything so much richer because suddenly it became real. The actual, he's not just the Cisco. He's a captain, he's a father. And, you can say all of that stuff, but the fact that Starfleet, recognizes that the Bajorans don't want any images of him, so they don't show them. It does dehumanize Cisco. And by showing Jake, having him talk about who his father was as a man, brings it back down to that. And he relates it back to him being the prophet or being, a part of the prophets, the emissary. That being a man was just as important because it's the whole reason he was the emissary. And it's such a beautiful speech. And I think this whole thing with Jake, really, this feels like such a lovely counterpoint to the episode The Visitor, because in that episode, you do have Cisco disappear, and Jake is never able to move on. His entire life is ruined by it. And we found out that in this timeline where Cisco does disappear, Jake is able to move on. He's able to have a great life. We can see that he does get married and he has kids. I mean, as sporked as the family tree is, I'm going to take that
You
as fact.
studied that thing.
I did. And just the way he's talking in this interview, when I mean, he said that he had kids, that, he learned from his dad about how to be a father.
Oh, yeah.
And, how to make gumbo. And it's so wonderful that Jake was able to take everything he learned from his dad and move on with his life. And I say this as somebody who is still dealing with the grief of losing a parent, even though that was 9 years ago now. So I know it can be so hard to do. And we saw how badly Jake did it in another time, that it makes me so happy that history did not repeat itself.
Eric?
Oh, I didn't know if you wanted to talk about Professor Isla.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Oh no. Okay, I'll talk about Jake.
Funny as mentors here.
I'll talk about Jake first, because now that MC's making my eyes water, because now I'm thinking about The Visitor, my favorite episode of Star Trek. I'm trying to organize my thoughts. I do love that throughout the episode we're talking about this myth of Cisco, right? And then we finally get to talk to Jake, who, yes, Sirach looks fantastic in this episode. Like, damn. hearing him talk about his dad and just humanizing him and realizing that his legacy, his father's legacy to him, wasn't this mythical person. It was the person that would play baseball with him. It was the person that loved him, to show love to other people. Like the things that he remembers of this myth, this 800-year-old mythical man, is that he was a good man to begin with, and that he loved people, and that he showed love to others. Like it. I don't know why my eyes are like getting really watery, and I'm like, don't cry right now. You don't need it. And it's someone shaped by greatness. Without, he's not consumed with it. I love that MCU brought up The Visitor. Now that I'm thinking about it, is that it didn't take over his life. The idea that his father is gone and that his father's now somewhere. He knows that he's out there, or at least I believe that he believes that he's out there. Oh God, that's a beautiful thing. And the board, like MC said, I think that he still did talk to his dad ever so often.
No, I absolutely, because we did have that scene where Cisco talked to Cassidy. There is fucking no way that Cisco was like, okay, now I'm gonna go talk to Jake.
Mm-hmm. I do like the idea of Tawny being a mentor figure as well, from a different perspective. I like the idea that she can look at. She's been there for such a long time. She can look outside of these institutions and give her expertise, and outside of these expectations that people would probably have at this point. For some odd reason, I have that Terminator 2 line in my head. There's no fate but what we make ourselves, and she feels sort of embodies that. Like you choose for yourself. Like I love that there are these two different mentor figures for Sam to have moving forward. I hope that maybe we see Sirach again. Like I would love.
Oh my God, that would be.
You're so greedy. You are so greedy.
I am greedy, and I want it. I want it. Don't take it away from me.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but I
don't
did think
so
that
either.
too. I was like, I want Sirach to come back.
I would love that.
Julian?
I'm just going to start this with Jake's quote. I knew a man who championed me always.
Mm-hmm.
And the example he set for me as a father, and that when I became a father myself, I was able to love my children the way he loved me. Goddamn. This was so unexpected and so freaking beautiful. And I just can't tell you how unexpected it was. And I think I may have slapped Karen on the arm really hard when he showed up on my screen. I've done that a few times recently with Star Trek. But the fact that Sam like immediately was just like, I wish you were here, and like looked up to him, was a mentor, was just like, it's this full circle moment. Because like, at least like for me, I'm talking about for me, because like I looked like these two were what I believed a father-son relationship should be, right? Because I didn't have that. And the fact that Sam was like, wow, like you have this wisdom, and like you might have the answers, but just like saw, like just connected with him so quickly, was just like so absolutely beautiful. And then to have Tawny's character like on the other side of that in an almost like whimsical way, with like the metaphors like about the tomatoes, was beautiful in its own way. I'm having a really hard time tonight, like putting to words like what this means to me, but like that quote alone kind of like encompassed this entire episode for me. It was absolutely just stunning. Yeah.
I think everybody talk. I'm gonna say one thing about Jake. Damn, that costume. Fucking loved it. So good. like Sirac needs to wear this kind of thing, like African inspired wear, which I wear a lot of. Oh, it was gorgeous, gorgeous. Those blues, beautiful. I agree with everything you've said. I'm gonna add one thing about what Tony says. Professor Isla. I like it really was for me and I thought about it a lot. This idea that we are who we are because of the choices we made, and we made those choices because of what we love. And I was like, okay. That really threw me through a loop, because I feel that the big difference when we look at Star Trek world, and we're like, oh, this is utopia, it's because people are who we are. People are who they are because they made choices informed by what they love. And nowadays, so many people are who they are because they made choices informed by what they fear or what they hate or what they want to avoid. And I'm like, okay, what are the choices I made out of love that determine who I am? And like that whole thing about tomatoes, like in gumbo, yes or no? Like being French, I have so many things about food, which is like the right way and the wrong way, And I'm like, is it really because I love it? Is it because I was told it was the way? Was my path predetermined? And then I didn't even question it. Like, I feel that that episode is so thick in the idea that there's so many ways to read it because it's so deep. Like every time I start like thinking of what they were trying to say, what was the angle, what was like the metaphor, the moral, I'm just like seeing more and more things. And I think that it's just a question about like, you need to question, you need to keep asking questions, you need to keep wondering who you are. Why do you like tomatoes in gumbo? Why why do you do who you are? Are you predetermined? Do you have things that you can still, even if life feel very predetermined, I have to say, like sometimes like I don't have a choice in how I'm gonna live my life because of external pressures. I can still do it my way. And I think it's such a beautiful message to tell young people who are growing up in this world right now, because I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. I am that old. And I feel like the 90s, especially because I was teen in the 90s, I was, in college in the early 2000s, was such a world full of possibility, full of like, you could question everything, you could try everything. And I feel the world, maybe it's because I'm old, don't mind me if that's so, but the world is kind of like retracted around people. And S.A.M is really being, no, I'm going to ask all the questions. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to tell to Jake from 2408, oh, I wish I could have known you, which I may have done in museums before. So yeah, this constant questioning of budding identity and defining yourself in a group. I think Starfleet Academy is doing an amazing job at just making me go through like questioning myself also. I'm gonna, please bear with me. Can we pass on the B plot? I know there is a lot of things to do, but there's this B plot where they're doing a dinner for like the Alpharati, and I know some of us liked it. Most of us were confused by it. Is that the right word?
I think I am the sole outlier that actually really enjoyed the B plot.
I enjoyed it.
But
yeah, we're an hour
sorry.
36 in.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's so many other things we want to talk about. Do we want to talk about the Alpiratis and the spoons and the fish and
they usually weave these plots together, and this one was really just over there.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, Calrec is mad because of this. And then we're like, okay.
I just like the elevator scene. Like, that was kind of the
the longest elevator. Those elevators, right, are so long.
That's why they have chairs.
It's not a turbo lift; it's a legit elevator.
People are saying pass on the B plot, but I'm here for Calrec Ake interaction. Agreed.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it.
Jet Reno.
Yeah.
Oh, Jet Reno.
was
Oh, yeah.
fantastic. So yeah. If it comes back in other episodes, we'll talk about it, promise. We are going to the launching pad, people. Oh no, sorry, not the launching pad anymore. The academy run by a drag queen. Jackie Cox! Whoop whoop. We love to see that San Francisco real estate has been steady for like 800 years. Let's go. Caleb, again, accesses. We didn't talk about this, about like the Creole food and so on, but we've learned that Caleb can gain access of Sam's primary system with consent. We like respectful king, right? And Sam gets wasted. The turf war between the War College and the Starfleet Academy continues while romances unfurl. Sam experiences everything at once, from Mir's firm booty to loving love, and also punching Nivari in the face. Let's go. Starting brows, my girl. We talked about college life. I think it's a great moment, like to see like a drag queen in the bar finally, first canon drag queen. And I think we talked a little bit about the design of the episode, because I feel the design was so interesting and gorgeous in that episode. People didn't like it. I saw online people were mad about it. Do we want to talk about the design real quick, MC?
I just need to say that I'm just so happy for Jackie, because I know that Jackie Cox is such a huge Star Trek fan, and it's really great to finally see her actually in the show. As I said before, there have been so many bar fights in Starfleet Academy that we needed to have one in this, and having it actually be Sam who does it is just like, no, I don't think anybody had that on their bingo for who was going to be the one who instigated the bar fight in Starfleet Academy. And just bringing up the schematics for Sam. Caleb saying that they're sexy in like the opening of the episode was just
Respectfully.
respectfully. As a friend, this is sexy. And I'm like, I love it.
Eric?
I love the design of this bar and everything. It looks like a bar I used to go to in Toronto, so I wonder if they just used it.
It might have been.
It was such a fun like sequence. I love that Sam, instead of just being like, I'll have a couple shots, just went full on. Let's just do the whole thing. I might as well experience it all, the whole bar life right now. I love the fight. I love that. I love like Jaden is falling for a war college guy, and it's so cute, and it's so damn cute. Just everything. I love that Sam just loves love, and who hasn't been at a bar and just been like, I love everyone. I love you guys. I love love.
This is the
man.
12
Eric,
shots
we're
of vodka,
theater
Eric.
kids.
Yeah, it's true.
The 12 shots of vodka speaking, Eric.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Julian?
Oh man, let me tell you friends a story of Julian, 19-year-old Julian in 2005 at college in Johnson State in the middle of nowhere, Vermont, going to his first house party. And oh man, was I Sam in that situation? Like, this is not a TV show. This is high school parties. This is college. That Julian was maybe more fucked up than Sam was in this episode, but it was accurate. It was accurate. It was great. It was beautiful. For the emissary, as Cisco did. Oh my god! And the fact that Jackie, whose character's name I don't remember, but just had no problem just with Sam laying on the bar, was like, that's a move, that's a vibe. I got you, girl. It's all good. I just want to say, beating a dead horse. I had the pleasure to finally like get to meet Jackie and chat with them for a little bit at the Disco season 5 premiere, and they're just such a wonderful human being. And I'm so happy, Giraffe. We talked about this in private earlier today. Just like the fact that this happened is wonderful. I love it. I also love for the no Star Trek 90210, please. I love the Star Trek 90210, and we get the kind of sexy scene where like she goes out and waits for Caleb, and it's very hot, and they start smooching, and it was very
Then
well shot.
somebody gets thrown out of the door.
And then you know that they want to keep kissing, and you know that that they're like, should we? I guess. Oh yeah, okay, fine. We have to go in. I don't remember exactly the line, but also Jaden going, your bearings are also very firm, or whatever the exact quote was just like, you sweet summer child. I cannot wait to see where this goes. It was glorious. This was one of my favorite scenes in the episode. The bar was great. Is this how Sam sees life? I mean, yes, right? Like, yeah. And I really hope we have 5 episodes left. I really hope that we get more moments of Sam seeing life in this way, right? Yeah. This was so good.
I cracked up when like they're kissing outside and you hear Darren from inside being like,
"Get in
here!
Where are you?"
I need to appreciate Sam going, "This is my song," and Genesis saying, "You've never heard it before."
Listen, I felt this was like the realest college party because I'm you know me, I'm a classic student. I studied ancient Greek and Latin in college. Like I was not rowdy. Like I mean, I was rowdy, but I was rowdy in like a very nerdy way, like in a very Starfleet Academy way. And we would go every Thursday to a bar, and we would get fucked up. But we were all like archaeology students, classics, international relations. Like we're all nerds. And I felt those kids like, you know, like this very positive kind of atmosphere where everybody's like, oh, they're making out, look at this, and everybody's awkward because everybody's a nerd. Like starting a fight, yelling for the misery would be totally like in the books. I thought it was so fun, and I'm just gonna say that I'm so happy for Jackie Cox because I told you that story, Julian. But 4 years ago, I was at Star Trek Day, and I was talking with Henrietta Meyer and Jackie Cox, and Jackie literally asked, "When is there gonna be a drag queen in Star Trek?" And that was 4 years ago, and I'm so happy that she gets to be that drag queen. Everybody was looking good. The design of the episode really made me think of, you know, in those old scientists, when in the end we see the cartoon version of Strange New World, and they're like, is everybody like, do you see what my arm can do? I was like, is it actually how Sam sees everything with like little nose and little thing? I'm like, it is so incredible. It gives you so much like intel on how the character sees the world. And I love this so much. People are like, it's too cutesy. I see the world like that. Leave me alone. I want to see little emojis anymore everywhere.
For the people though who always go, well, you can't just gush over the episode. You have to say something negative. Here's your one negative thing for the night. Okay. Here's the one thing I didn't like about the episode, which otherwise it's still a 10-10. So get the fuck out of here. I'll still say that. But I am getting a little about the turf war between the War College and the Academy. I think it's a little bit forced because I know, Eric, and I know what you're gonna say. It's like, well, the theater kids and the jocks don't mingle, but so you eventually do. Like I don't know. I think it's a bit forced. Go ahead.
The reason why I like it is because I know that they're gonna do that trope where they're like, these two opposing forces need to band together and, you know, defeat the ultimate evil. I hope that's not what the end of the season is going to be, but it feels like they're going to do that. Like I was watching this stupid fucking movie with my kids about these two opposing lifeguarding teams. And obviously I don't put too much thought into it because I didn't either. But by the end of it, they had to team up together to do something. I wasn't paying attention too much, but that's just what it feels like. It feels like these two opposing forces need to join together, and they don't touch upon it too much.
I'm going to support Julian in this, that I'm tired of the turf war, and part of the reason for that is that I think that it's stunting Tarima's character.
That's fair.
I I'm here for the turf war because my college was split in two during the change of republic in France, and there was literally a double college where I was, and ours was the lefty liberal one, and the other one was like the right wing, kind of like low key, weird morals one. And we hated their guts, and they hated our guts, and we had even two different bars
Damn.
that were next to each other, and
Good.
and it was a highlight of my freshman years, hating on those guys. I still kind of dislike them. I'm here for this. So,
I sort of also want to know more about the War College kids. Like, I like them.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, give them an episode, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
okay, are there shrimps and grits in the Celestial Temple?
Yes.
There are now.
Yeah.
Well, Sam sobered up, and some punched cadets are under the care of the doctor, who is not responsive to Sam's quest and identity search. Very get over it and move on. We see again this side of the doctor that we've seen like peak here and there, unable to deal with a loss or losses, and detaching himself from meaningful relationship. I didn't say that in the outline, but like, do you think it's because of the prodigy kid? Oh my god. What do you think of the choice to not have the doctor be Sam's mentor? And do we have any theories on what's going on? Real
So,
quick.
when we got our screeners and people had watched it before me, I did get a bunch of comments from like Giraffe and Julian. It was like, oh my god, you have to watch this episode. You know, like we need to know what you think about this episode. I initially thought that it might be an episode about the doctor, about the intervening 800 years or whatever. And I'm really glad I picked up on that there was, legacy stuff in it, but I was totally off about what the episode was about. I do think that it is entirely just 800 years of loss is just a lot to deal with. We can see that he absolutely does care. Like, he cares so much, and that's the reason why he does not get involved with people anymore. Now, I think he doesn't really think rationally in that he should get close to S.A.M because S.A.M is also photonic, so it's not like he's going to lose S.A.M, presumably. Or I don't know. Maybe something like that did happen where there were other people that he thought were going to be around for, ever, that, he lost through the burn or whatever. So I am very interested. And I do think that at some point we're going to have an episode where we will find out exactly what's going on with the doctor. Mm-hmm. I think everybody suspected right away that, S.A.M and the doctor, obviously they're photonics, so they're going to, have this mentor-student relationship, which, I don't know, that seems like it's very, very neat and presumptuous. So I like that it didn't happen right away. And I like that we did get like this little bit of, you could hear the sadness in the doctor when he's saying that, he got to know Jake when he came back to the Delta Quadrant, which is, of course, by then Cisco was already gone. And I'm really interested to know, does the doctor does seem to remember absolutely everything. Like, they must have expanded his memory to be able to, keep all of those, memories of everything that he's gone through over those last 800 years. And you would think that he would want to get rid of them, considering how he's trying to make himself callous. But yeah, it's just very interesting.
Sorry.
Yep. For me, I like the idea of the doctor not being Sam's mentor. We already have Laura Thok as Jaden's mentor. We don't need another because they're the same type relationship. I've had Filipino profs they don't need to be my mentor. Like that's the same thing. I believe like MC, I think it's a compounded 800 years of loss. Like that's brutal. Like, and for someone who would remember everything, that's a lot of faces of ghosts that are just haunting you. Like that's terrifying. And we saw in the first episode that maybe something theory wise did happen to the prodigy kids. Like I don't want it. I don't want to, but if I want to break your hearts, and he thought that they were like they're indestructible, maybe it's Murph, the one that would be indestructible. That's
Captain
the one
Murph.
that he lost. Captain Murph is
Captain
gone.
Murph.
Oh, could you imagine being the one person you're like, oh, this one can never be lost? And
I'm sure he has a Vulcan
first
exo.
one.
I will die on that.
Maybe. Yeah, I feel like he probably experienced loss of students and stuff like that. It feels like there's a distance that he's trying to keep. Like he wants to be away, but there's something sad in his past that we're gonna probably get soon, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to handle more tears.
Julian?
I agree with everyone. I agree completely that he should not be Sam's mentor. It was the obvious choice, right? And I like that they didn't go with the obvious choice. I think that's a sign of great writing. I think that it's not just the prodigy kids, though. I think you have to remember what he went through just on Voyager alone, right? During those 7 years. And then I think the one thing that we're not talking about right now is how this show has done a really good job like connecting some dots about what's happened over the past 800 years and maybe 1,000 years. I think the one thing that we're not talking about is that the Doctor came back to a Federation not too soon after and experienced the synth attack on Mars and what then happened with the ban on synthetic life. And even though he's not a synthetic life, he is a holographic life. He is photonic. And he had to fight for his rights aboard Voyager. I think this is someone who had to do a lot of fighting for probably a lot longer than we realize for photonic rights. And we still actually don't quite know what rights photonics have in this century. Right?
Well, I mean, if you remember when they did their kind of Walmart version of Measure of a Man in Author, he doesn't get declared a person. He gets declared an author. That's it.
Yes, an author. And what's interesting is that when we come to this century in Discovery Season 3, they have like automaton hollows, right? But like that are activated on demand. There's something that I think is a little bit fishy about this century right now with photonic rights that we don't fully comprehend. I think compounded with the fact that he had to fight for those rights and over the course of hundreds of years, lose the people. It's like people are going to die. I don't believe that something absolutely horrible happened to the kids. I think that he watched them get old and die. I think he watched Janeway get old and die. I think he watched 7 of 9 get old and die. And I think when you do that century after century and century and have to fight for your existence, he has become a curmudgeon-y old man. And I do want to know what happened, but I think it's complex and simple at the same time.
And sorry, I wanted to go off that. I wonder what happened if he was still a prof when the burn happened, right? Like he probably lost a lot of people then too. Like that's sooner, but not as far as the other stuff, right?
Yeah.
I don't disagree in the general idea, but I disagree when it comes to how it is acted by the Doctor. It is out of pocket, it is fat, it is a lot. And it breaches out. And it's not a general thing. Like, you know, like when he's with the debate team, for example, he's like, she can cheat, I don't know what. But then when they're like specific, very specific thing, make him react a lot.
Yeah.
And I think there's a story here. I don't think the story is just, he's sad because 800 years of loss. I don't think so. I think there's something that they're going to tell us because they've been hinting. It's a Chekhov's gun, guys. This is too much. This is too much. This is too clear. This is too, They're gonna say something at one point to explain that. I don't know if he tried to have, kids like we've seen in Voyager, like a family, and something happened to them. I don't know if he's under pressure because he's one of the sole conscious EMH existing, because we see the AI like servant around. We know the dots are sentient question marks. We know that Zora exists, but is it that he's like there's a story. They cannot do that and be like, he's just sad for eternal year. I don't believe this. I refuse.
If they do touch on that a little bit more, I would like Isla to come back for it, because if it is delving into the whole idea of mortality, obviously Isla Dax is going to know something about that. So I would.
Could we, because I don't know if we're going to talk about it later, could we just talk about the fact that Isla Dax, like the fact that Dax is still alive, like 1,200 years later, like Dax is ridiculously and stupid old for a symbiote, and I think it's just the fact that the Dax symbiote is a curmudgeonly old, you won't kill me symbiote. I'm so here for the fact that Dax is still alive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did they ever like really address how long symbionts live? Because I know that eventually, like really old ones, like go into the symbiont pool.
Yeah, I don't think it's as old as Dax is, because I think they talk a little bit about it in Disco season 3 and even 5, but I don't
think they said over like 800-ish years, right? I feel like that's the number. No?
Yeah.
I think there's nothing's going to be left in the universe except cockroaches and Dax.
Yes, Jean says Dax fought death and won. Okay, Sam feels like she has failed. Doomed to fail if she goes on, and doomed to fail if she doesn't. Thinking that living like Cisco, a life without real choices, is not really going to end well. We discovered that Jack Cisco's never published book is in the hand of. Opens it. She gets to meet Jake. Hey sis, that's where I started crying. This is where I started crying. Cisco did what the prophets needed, but he did it his way. He taught them to, but stayed true to himself. He helped Sam to see the work of the emissaries as a bridge, and that she is enough. Cisco never left Jake. I can't prove it, but I know it's true. What do you think of Sam finding solace and mentorship in Jake's book? Jake himself? We are bridging between beliefs and fact. Is this the real word? Is this just fantasy? What do you think of this scene around S.A.M and its message?
Oh my god, this scene is everything. I had been crying before. I was sobbing during this scene. It is so wonderful because I think it really speaks to what this whole episode has been saying about, trying to find facts versus faith. It's like in this, is it actually Jake? Because I feel like he's not really acting like a hologram. It doesn't seem like something that's pre-programmed, like it's, a holo novel. It feels like it is some sort of like connection to the prophets, because, Jake would obviously have a connection to the prophets, and I don't know what's going on, but you know what? It doesn't fucking matter, because all that matters is that we want to hear from Jake Cisco directly that everything was okay, that, if we can't have Avery Brooks come back, then the next best thing is to have Jake Cisco sit down with somebody and saying, listen, my dad was an emissary, but he always addressed things in his own way. And this is why I think this episode is so great as an episode of Starfleet Academy and not just a love letter to Deep Space Nine, because everything does keep on coming back to Sam's mission, to who Sam is trying to be, because she's so burdened by the idea of being an emissary, thinking that it's going to destroy her life because it already destroyed Cisco's life. And you have Jake sitting there and saying, it's like, no, it didn't destroy his life. It was, a part of who he was, and he was able to adapt around it. And it was able to, adapt to him. And it's such a beautiful thing. And yeah, I just think that there's, and I think Giraffe can speak more to this, but I love that we're having, one of the Black actors on the show actually, paying homage to like the first Black captain. And how many, like, we have Tawny, we have Chiwetel Ejiofor. Everybody guesting in this episode is Black. So yes, this is the perfect Black
it's Black
episode.
History Month. What did I say when they announced the Academy? I said Black Trek is back. You remember that?
Yeah.
We are black on the moon. People will watch Space Force. Eric.
Oh, me.
Yeah, you.
This scene broke me. I loved it so much. I do think that there's a little bit of profit in Jake. Obviously, his dad was one, right? There was a little bit of a lighter, like the sequence was a little bit brighter. It felt like the Void where Cisco would talk with the prophets, right? It felt like that, but in the school, I love that Jake is there telling her that being an emissary isn't the only thing that's part of her, right? She's more than that, and that it's a part of her, but it's not defining her. Just like it didn't define Cisco, like his dad. There's so much that I want to be as a parent myself, and the fact that Jake feels like this father talking to this kid, just being like, you know what, be yourself, be you. You're already grounded enough. Like you know what's good. You know what you have to do. You're becoming who you're supposed to be. Like, what parent doesn't want to say that to their kid, right? Who doesn't want to lift up that person who wants to find their place in the world? Like, and it felt, oh my God, it felt so, I don't want to say reverent, but there was something that lifted my soul just listening to them talk to each other. I don't want to say it's like, I don't want to say like it's a religious experience for her.
Say it.
But it can. But it sort of felt like that. There was something there. Like this is why I want him to come back. I want him to come back so much.
Yeah,
because I love this conversation.
The chat has called it Jake's book/orb. Yeah, this was an orb experience.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think I said everything there. Yeah.
Julian.
I don't have anything meaningful to say that Eric and MC haven't said. I don't mean that in the sense of like, like I could just like repeat. Like this scene just moved me to tears every single time I watch it. The second time more. And part of that, I'll leave what you guys talked about to what you guys talked about, and I'll just talk about the acting for a moment, because Sirach Lofton was amazing on Deep Space Nine, and obviously he has the seventh rule and he does his show now. For him to fall back into this role so easily, but bring a brand new spirituality to it and this brand new calm and collectedness to Jake Cisco, and to have Carice just sit there and take it all in. And I mean, again, this could be bullshit. I don't think it is. I don't think you guys will disagree. Those are real tears. Like there was acting to a point, but like those were real tears. Like this was a conversation, between, I think, two people that actually like meant something to each other. And it was just absolutely beautiful. Like and when I talk about the acting, like there's sometimes where you watch a scene on television or in film or on the stage where you forget you're watching something for a moment, because this just felt like a real conversation. When Carice said, well, when I close this book, are you going to go away? And he just laughs like, girl, I don't know. I thought you were the one controlling all of this. It felt so real. And just like, these are two people having a very important conversation. I don't know, like, I don't know what else to say other than that it was just beautifully acted and beautifully well performed, and having him back was just like a treat that, like, we could talk about those old scientists, but like this was I think the biggest treat that we've gotten, and everybody knows how I feel about Picard season 3. This, I think, was a bigger treat than that, and was like, those are member berries and a lot of nostalgia. This was member berries with like deep philosophical meaning, and that's it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start that again. I spoke about the importance of mentorship, I think last episode. And I love the fact that this show is all about young people finding mentors and not just old people being mentors. Like, Sam tries to go to the doctor and it doesn't work. And I don't think she knows she's looking for a mentor, but I think when you find that connection of somebody who inspires you, sees you, and guides you, it's so powerful. And I love the fact that it is the kooky teacher who teaches that random weird class who happens to be Dax. There are like teachers like that I always love them. And then I learned that they had these incredible life stories. The fact that it's Jake or a book, and that through that book she can find history, and she can find a way to understand herself. I think is so much more powerful than, oh, the captain is all knowing and the captain will show me the way and I will follow the captain. Your mentor has to be, I'm saying mentor like censor, say mentor, has to be somebody that will bring something out of you that you didn't know was there, and help you see the world in a way that makes you know that you're enough. And I think the writing in that episode is so absolutely incredible. Kirsten Beyer, we interviewed her for Con, has an uncanny, not uncanny, but like incredible way of like talking of this question of religion and identity and belief. And we see it in Khan, we see it in the Light of Kales. We like that how do you become part of a thing? Why do you follow? Why are you inspired? And I think Tawny, and I remember when I said that, I think it was like before Strange New World season 3, I was like, if somebody's going to be able to talk about the biracial experience or Black experience of being a Star Trek fan, I believe in Tawny. And I think like she was able to bring also to this that ability of like seeing in other like Black historical people like a way to redefine your own life, to see in Star Trek, in Deep Space Nine, strength to go on and continue in your life when you know that it's not gonna be easy. So I thought it was I cried the whole way through. Each time I watched the episode. You said incredible acting. Sam also cries, gives back Anselm to Professor Isla, who finally doesn't reveal, just show the trail spots. And And Sam realized that yes, she is Dax. Did you know before, or did you just clock it at that moment? I had my doubt with the tomato thing.
I should have.
It is weird, the tomato thing.
I
Not
didn't
even
even
just
think
the
about it.
tomato, but the way that she said Benjamin. Like, because the only person that referred to Benjamin that way in DS9 was Dax.
Mm-hmm. And big up to Tony Newsom being able to write her own perfect fan fiction into I see you, I respect you. I would have done the exact same thing. I, no, I don't know where. The Sam finally gets the answer to her question and the strength to stand up to her maker. The purpose of organics is not understanding; it is becoming. She quotes Cisco, "I can live with that." Chills. And compares herself to a theremin. No strings, no keys, creating her own kind of music. We realize in the end that the whole episode was Sam's narration was in reality her prayer, her conversation with Cisco himself. Everyone should have a dad like you. What do you think of Sam's character arc in this whole episode? Let's do like this before we talk about Avery Brooks. It's going to be the last question. It's also already very late. We know how much Chris Brooks has faced unjust backlash in the fandom, and also I don't know if you saw her post about their post about being sick during the shooting during the academy. They went through a lot. Are we more in love with? Is that possible to be more in love with Sam? Where do you think their story is gonna go after that?
Oh my god, this was just so amazing. First of all, did not see the Dax thing coming. I thought it was going to be revealed that she was like a descendant of Cisco, which also would have been interesting, having half
That was my thought
Cardassian.
too. Yeah.
But having it be Dax, I'm glad, because I believe back when we were doing Disco season 5, I'm like, I kind of wish that Dax would appear. So I'm glad that I was right, that Dax is still around. But oh my god, Karis Brooks was so good in this episode, because I've been going on about how the reason why this episode works is because it's a character study of Sam, and that does not work if Karis Brooks' acting isn't up to snuff. She does such a wonderful job. She's so enthusiastic about everything, but also so vulnerable. She just has this wonderful like zest for life, and you can feel how sad she is that Cisco isn't able to experience that anymore. And you know that she's just projecting her own feelings of she's only just been around for like 4 months and gotten this chance, and she doesn't want to lose that. And throughout this episode, she's gaining the strength to be able to say, no, you know what, I'm going to do my thing. And this whole journey of, you know, self-confidence is such an important thing. Like we did in the chat, I have people say other characters who have had strong character arcs when I said that I think that this is the strongest character episode we've had in a very long time. I did specifically mean like what episodes focusing on a character going from one end, from A to Z, because like there was such a big change in the character in Sam in this episode that I don't think that we've really had for a long time in a character. They haven't had like one episode just dedicated to really growing them. And yeah, Carrie Brooks has gotten some just fucking terrible things said about her. And you know, don't act like, you know, we know why people are saying shit about her.
It's racism.
Yeah, it's racism. It's sizeism. Yeah, people don't like that there's a heavy black girl on TV. Like, that's bullshit. absolute bullshit. She is wonderful. She is such a light. And I loved Sam from the first episode, and I love her even more now because I understand her more now. Don't think that you can have this kind of character and learn more about them and not like them more. So yeah, no, she's wonderful. I love Sam, and I love the portrayal of her.
Eric?
I did not know about the online backlash. I don't really read the Twitters. And
when I say online backlash, it's just that every time
trolls,
I post
sorry.
something about Carrie Brooks, I have weirdos.
I mean, to be fair, I was telling Draft this earlier. I was in a Starfleet Academy Facebook group and I had to leave just from the negativity. So I don't doubt that this brilliant young actor is just getting hate for being a black person, right? Which is fucking terrible. And like I said in the first episode, I love Sam as a character. There's some brightness that Karis Brooks brings to this character that I don't think I've ever seen in a character. And like in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, if anyone does anything to this character, I will kill everyone.
Kill myself with it.
Yeah. As for the character arc for Sam going from A to Z, I loved it. I love that she went, she became this person who accepted her position, but isn't submissive to these parental people, right? She doesn't reject her makers, but she is there to redefine what it is that she's there for. She's growing without, complying, which I think is a really good lesson for kids in general. Karis Brooks' performance is so, I wrote this down because I saw this earlier and I was like, she delivers such a good performance that is vulnerable without being fragile and curious without being naive. And like, if anyone had a doubt of this character before now, this should end everything. Like, this is a person that is integral to this group. And definitely, I think the shining light of this series. I don't know how you could hate this character. Like, it's beyond me. Like, I don't understand it. I love this character so much.
Julian?
Hi, I'm going to go off for a second.
Oh, let's go.
Listen the fuck up, everybody, okay? Because I run the social medias for us, okay? It has been a fucking 5 weeks, y'all, and I'm fucking done, and I'm fucking over it, okay? I have probably blocked over 200 accounts on our Facebook, people, and all these motherfuckers and the one person that I had to ban in the middle of this podcast tonight going, these fucking people couldn't pass a Starfleet Academy entrance exam. I don't care how fucking, I don't care how fucking sized it is. Look in the fucking mirror, okay? Like, let's get something straight. These people don't deserve this. It is blatant racism. I'm done seeing your bullshit, like, comments. Like, I don't know what happened to you to make you that hateful. And the fact that you could even call yourself a Trekkie, because this has not been Gene's vision since 1966. If you somehow are able to warp that and pull off the fucking comments that I've had to delete and read over the past 5 weeks, I simply put, you are not a Trekkie. You don't deserve to be called a Trekkie. You don't deserve to watch the show, and you do not deserve to have the light of these actors, especially Carice, who is a light of this fucking show. Like, look in the fucking mirror. You are not special. You are not welcome to make these comments. You are not entitled to make these comments. And I know that there's the whole argument, well, don't block them because that empowers them. No, it doesn't. You know what? Because they spent 20 or so minutes figuring out the perfect little thing to say. And the minute they get instantly blocked, I know they feel like they just wasted their time. So get fucked. Rant over.
And also, you don't have to see it again.
I agree with everything you said. I fell in love with Karis Brooks the moment they were on the stage at San Diego Comic-Con, crying, seeing the trailer for Starfleet Academy. I love what they did with the character. I do think that for a 25-year-old, the acting chops on that person
Oh yeah.
are mind blowing. Like I incredible. This is an episode that works only because of the ability of the actors in that episode. Like the fact that I cried through the whole thing was not just because of the script or just because of the direction, or like they Carrie Brooks as a face that will launch 1,000 ship. That's another thing I will rant about at another point. But
That bothers me
speaking of
too.
people being racist dicks online, somebody in the chat is saying Jesse Gender has a great video about right wing people saying that they're Trekkies. It's really interesting. If you want to, delve into this. Okay, here we go. Divine laws are simpler than human ones. We end the episode on a voiceover of Avery Brooks himself, Cisco, answering to S.A.M. Is this the epilogue for DS9 that you were expecting? Do you think the series needed an episode to address Cisco's disappearance? Was doing it 900 years in the future the right call? And also, we all know we all cried and we never knew that thing was ever going to happen. So thank you to whoever managed this. I suppose Sarah Gofton. I'm gonna throw that in the middle. MC.
Oh wow, I just have so many feelings. I have actually seen people complain about this episode specifically because it does establish that Cisco doesn't come back, and they felt that it, shit on what Avery Brooks wanted, to have Cisco eventually return to his children. And here's the thing with that. Avery Brooks has retired from acting. And if they're going to bring Cisco back, they're going to want to have Avery Brooks to do it. So they're not going to ever bring Cisco back, because then otherwise it's just hey, do you remember when Cisco came back? Like, that's not really like a satisfying thing to have happen. So you need to address it at some point, because we are now, 800 years out from that. And we're, looking back at, this is what happened back then. And it feels weird to not address, something that's just so major. So actually getting into it and making it matter, making it poetic, and I think making it okay, because like Eric, I am going to be tinfoil. I don't think that Cisco did not have a relationship with his family. I just think he had a different relationship with his family because he was with the prophets. Because, he did die, but he did transcend. He is something different than what he was. I like that they did this. I don't think that it was necessary, but I appreciate that they did it.
Eric?
Did we need an epilogue for DS9? I don't know, but I love this as an epilogue for DS9. I think it's a beautiful tribute to the story. We didn't really need to hear what happened to Cisco's. Isn't there a Deep Space Nine comic book too that also delved into this?
There is. That was the one thing that I had an issue with. I was just like, ooh, I bet, they just finished that up, didn't they?
Yeah.
And it's all non-canon now.
So, it's nice for people who don't, delve into the extended media, like people who just watch the shows. Like, I know a lot of people that also just watch the Marvel movies and they'll watch the TV shows. So when you can touch upon things that these normal air quote watchers get, like that's wonderful. I like the idea of it being 900 years later. I think there's always been this larger than life persona or mythos around Avery Brooks, and that feels like 900 years in the future that would also be the same with Cisco. So there's always been something mythical about both of them. I don't know, the final speech, from his spoken word album, it broke me. Like when I first saw it, I was sobbing. I couldn't. I couldn't. And then the end credits with the Deep Space Nine music, I was done. Like this destroyed me in a good way. Like I don't think I've had this emotional catharsis in a TV show in such a long time. So to get it, especially for something that I hold so dear in my heart from when I was a kid, like to this point as an adult, as a parent, looking at that show in a different way too. Like there's so much in that little speech, and I know it wasn't written for the show, but it fitted so perfectly. Like it was the cherry on top that I didn't know I needed for DS9's story.
Julian?
I don't want to answer, is this an epilogue for Deep Space Nine? Because I think this episode is like what you make it.
Answer my question, Julian.
No, I'm not gonna answer this, because I think if it's an epilogue for DS9 for you, like I'm super happy. But like it's I feel like this episode just like so much more complex than that, right? Because like I feel like even though we get so much great like Deep Space Nine like from this episode, it's still Sam's episode, right? Like this episode belongs to Sam. It ends on Sam talking to Benjamin, right? And if that makes it an epilogue for DS9, sure. It moved the hell out of me. I sat on my couch beating a dead horse because Eric and MC have already said, but like I was crying on my house for 10 minutes and on my couch, and Karen had to ask me if I was okay. It was deeply meaningful. I said at the top of the show, I didn't need it. I'm happy with what we've gotten. I have like so many feelings about this, because I don't love the finale of Deep Space Nine, and I don't know if that I don't know if this like rectifies any of that, but it does do something absolutely, like it's just still something of pure beauty for me. And yeah, doing it 900 years in the future is the perfect call. I think what Lower Decks did was good, but that wasn't an epilogue. That was an episode that took place on Deep Space Nine. You know, doing it 900 years later, it doesn't have to answer all of the questions, because it's myth at this point, and myth is not fact, right? Like this episode is layered, and it is a lot of things, but I don't want to put a name on it. And I know I've seen it in the chat all night long. I know everybody's like, oh man, you know, like I know the reality of Avery not coming back is real. I still have hope. And I'm like,
No.
No. It's not gonna happen. And this was perfect. Having his voice was perfect. And I'm gonna tell you to go back and watch the end of the episode, because I didn't find this out literally right before we found out recording. But if you watch in the clouds, if you really want to see Avery, he's there. And that's it.
I'm going to start by a light take, a joke, because as soon as like that whole episode was going on, I was like, I wonder what the fuck the crew of Discovery was like. Who the fuck is Cisco? You know, imagine having to explain that to Michael Burnham, being so lucid. So that always cracks me up, that these two realities exist at the same time, you know. I think it was a perfect for me, this is the most perfect take on before Star Trek that Star Trek has ever done. Maybe with Trill and Tribulations. It's like, you know, and even I think that this is a great way to talk about what they wanted to do, what they wanted to talk about, which is how do you build your own identity when, you know, sometimes your identity is not easy to negotiate, being in a mystery, having those makers, being an outlier, not finding people that understand you. Even the guy who's literally like you, a photonic, can't understand you. And how do you go around the world finding people that you can admire and you can get inspiration from, in a world where we're not really supposed to be here. So I felt that to the core, and the fact that it is Star Trek talking about this when Star Trek was literally for me the oh my god, my first mentor was Uhura, and she had 3 lines. She just existed there, and I was like, oh my god, I want to be her. And that informed so much of my decisions. And I love the fact that Cisco answers Sam, but she can hear him. And I love the fact that Avery Brooks was a mentor, is a mentor for Jake, but especially during Deep Space Nine. And I love that Cisco and Deep Space Nine was also a mentor figure for Tony Newsom. And I love all these relationship, and also of where you find inspiration, and when you find in what and who you can find strength to continue when you know that your road ahead is not gonna be easy. Sam being a Black woman is even more meaningful to me. You were saying so many Black actors in that show, because again, it is hard to find yourself in a culture that never represents you. And I'm so happy that those kids can get like so incredible, images of, a Black writer like Jake's, when we're talking about Diragatico, and that this is a world where all those images and representation exist, and that Sam can find this in a museum, can find this in a class at the academy, can find this in her teachers, in a book. I think it was so powerful and so meaningful. That's why when people started saying that they didn't like the episode, I banned them from Black History Month. I will talk to you March 1st. But it is an episode that I literally struggle so much writing the outline, because it's so deeply human, and it talks so much of a deep person, like life experience that I think we all go through, but we go through so much more when there is nobody on TV that looks like you. And it's an episode for the ages. And I saw somebody online saying if that was the last ever episode of Star Trek, I'd be fine with this one. Because it embodies so much of everything that Star Trek means for a lot of us.
I've had, just real quick, I've had a lot of feelings lately. I'm going to be very public with this about like me and like where I'm going and what I'm doing. And do not take this as me saying this, because I'm not saying it. But if this was the last episode that I ever had to talk about or review, this would be the episode. Like, I would be happy calling it right now, because this is one of those Trek episodes. We've been doing this for 6 years almost. And I've talked about a lot of different episodes. We've all talked about a lot of different episodes that we have loved and enjoyed. This one just is different and special and hits in so many different ways than others that I absolutely could just call it right here.
Agreed. I don't know if we want to do last thoughts.
I think we kind of just did.
I think we kind of just did. I want to say again how impressed I am by the whole production of Star Trek. Everybody worked. The casting is incredible. The writing, the directing. We didn't talk about so much, but the directing was incredible. I am really looking forward what they're gonna give us next. We're at the half points. It's just crazy. I think it is time for the mailbag.
Frequencies open.
Okay, who is gonna go first? Julian, can you take Colorado Chris?
Yeah, it's the shortest one of the night. Colorado Chris wrote, my mailbag submission, I'm here for it.
We love this. Eric, can I get Rob G?
Rob G wrote, instant classic. The episode format reminded me of In the Pale Moonlight with some added stylistic flair. I'm impressed that they kept Sirach's cameo secret, and hearing Avery's voice at the end made me cry. Tawny Newsome can do no wrong, and I can't wait for her next episode.
MC, can you get Jay Woodman?
Jay Woodman wrote, a firm but gentle reminder that we need love, understanding, and personal connection to make the world a better place. Sirach, Avery, and Tawny's appearances were poignant and perfection. 1,000 out of 10, no notes, exceeded all my expectations, and a new favorite episode for me.
And I'm going to get Emily Ree. Emily wrote, I watched DS9 as a teen in the 90s. It was extremely important to me. It taught me valuable life lessons that I carry with me to this day. Suffice to say, this episode made me ugly cry. But apart from that, it's a beautiful story of this young woman with so many expectations on her, and she doesn't know if she'll be good enough. And then Jack Cisco assures her she's good enough. Sob. Julian, can you take... Oh, sorry. Carrie Brooks is a tour de force carrying the episode on her shoulders with ease. The scene between her and Sirach Lofton is one I rewatched several times. Between last week's episode and this one, Starfleet Academy is primed to be one of the best Trek shows. Julian, can you take Travel Lady 12?
Yeah, Travel Lady 12 wrote, these episodes are so rich in content that I will have to rewatch them a couple of times to really comprehend. Episodes 4 and 5 have both moved me very much. Sam is a bundle of joy that we need, and to integrate her into the greater Star Trek history, wow. Thank you, Kirsten and Tawny. I'll keep it short and just take a bow.
Eric, can you take JMC Trek?
JMC Trek wrote, this episode, aside from strengthening Sam's character, is a love letter to DS9 in the best way. Prior to this episode, Sam was a character I really didn't like, but I gained a ton of respect and admiration for Sam's character after watching this episode and learning her backstory. And OMG, Dax is still alive and kicking at 1,200 years old, roughly. Tawny was the perfect choice to play the current host, since Tawny has already been on screen in live action. Putting her in Cardassian makeup was a perfect choice.
MC, can you take Matt Harker?
Matt Harker wrote, I don't know where to begin. This is the first time, probably since Inner Light first aired, I can recall an episode gave me so many feels. This episode is just the shot of adrenaline mixed with the perfect amount of grounding to launch a new future that perfectly honors the past. Tawny's surprise portrayal of Dax was the perfect homage to Terry's performance. She even did the Dax soft eye blink and spoke with the same gentle and wise softness. Seeing Sirach channel elements of Avery was a gift I didn't know I needed. Sam is the perfect lens for Trek newbies to approach the series' years of history with perfect sense of wonder. Kurtzman would be wise to let Tawny write more episodes. The Cisco quote at the end actually gave me warm tingles. 9.5 plus out of 10 for me.
I'm gonna get Dave Prime. Dave Prime wrote, I was a tad trepidatious when this episode started with all the cutesy graphics flying everywhere. I feared after an awesome episode last week that they have regressed. Fortunately, they did not. There's just so much to unpack. Sirach reprising his role as Jake, Payne's voiceover at the end of the episode, Dax still kicking at 1,200 years. Reno is always a delight in whatever capacity her involvement is, but the star of the show for me is the fish, as it started to deflate at the end of dinner. Julian, can you take Jedi Cat?
Jedi Cat wrote, back-to-back bangers. This show is really hitting its stride. Tawny Newsome and Kirsten Beyer, we're not worthy. A tour de force for, I'm just going to do it. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. A tour de force for Carice Brooks' Sam and a moving love letter to DS9. I really need to do a rewatch. Anytime. Such a thrill to see Sirach return as Jake. Can't believe they were able to keep it a secret. Same. And Tawny as the new Dax host. The B-plot about the diplomatic dinner was also good, and I didn't even mind this week's Cadet shenanigans. One of the most outstanding episodes of this Trek era, and I dare say it could shake out to be one of the best episodes of Trek, period.
And Eric, can you take Tara?
Tara wrote, there is so much here. I'm overwhelmed, so forgive me if I go on too long. I'm not sure I can remember the last time I truly cried while watching Trek. Maybe during Prodigy? Everything was absolutely perfect. The opening story of me credits in pink, yet the theremin science and throwback to TOS, the multiple and multi-layered homages to DS9, hearing Avery's voice, absorbing Avery's words, seeing Sirach as a wise and kind father figure, Dax, Nahla and Kelrick's evolving relationship and more reclining positions, the ongoing adventures of the Talaxian furfly. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The blobfish, and the outro music to DS9, and all the other things I'm forgetting at the moment. This might beat Those Old Scientists for my favorite episode of Trek ever. And now, a likely anticlimactic limerick. 105 series Acclimation Mil. A truly unique holographic emissary. Sam's journey leads to the Cisco, the legendary. He and Jake, with a nudge from Gas Dax, shows Sam she's enough, which surely tracks. Her impact is clear to be revolutionary.
I'm gonna take Michael Kwan. Michael Kwan wrote, about to make dinner, to have it before the live stream. The thumbnail of Sam bearing food makes me really want gumbo or etouffee or beignet. Julian, can you take us home with Mars?
Absolutely. I just want to say that I wanted gumbo every single time I watch this episode, and I've yet to have it. So I need to get some gumbo.
Just to interrupt quickly, you skipped me, and also there's 2 more.
What?
There's 2 more mailbags.
Mm-hmm.
How is there 2 more? I see just
Mars and Prelor.
I don't see Prelor.
Well,
well, MC, sorry, I kept the tradition. You'll take Prelor because I don't see it.
Okay.
So Julian, can you take Mars?
Mars wrote, what can I say that hasn't been said or sobbed? That hasn't already been said or sobbed. Honestly, I was not ready for the depth series Acclimation Mil brought. And boy, howdy did Tawny Newsome and Kirsten Beyer bring it. They brought knowledge, self-discovery, history, his story. We've all been waiting and wondering, where is Cisco? The Cisco exists within all of us. Hell yes. And then we all cry harder than we did at the visitor. Getting up early was sure worth it today.
MC, can you take us home with Prelor?
So we Prelor with a first-time mailbag. When critics set this as a high bar, saying it was top of all Trek, I was prepared to say it wasn't possible. But the depth and breadth and messaging and nostalgia and the world building was beyond what I was prepared to experience. Her story / his story, the grace, the homage, the tribute to what Avery and Sirach had and gifted to us, the family ties, the humor, the Dax of it all, and the messaging to anyone who finds Trek for the first time through this episode. I envy them.
Well, to all my Samaroonies, to all my Samburgers, Queen Samarillas, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Remember, keep your eye on Tawny Newsome's social media to know when we're going to be able to answer questions. With this, I will tell you good night. Sarcastic Vulcan salutes.
Walk with the prophets.
Najram. Bye-bye, everyone.